কোনটা মারলে ভিজুয়াল
You have joined the call. There are 2 other people in the call. Your camera is on. Your microphone is on. Your hand is lowered. Open the people list to see the visitors who joined from outside the meeting host organization. Control D. Your microphone is on.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Muroy left parent outside into right parent joined. The presentation by Muroy was added to the main screen.
Ma'am, namaskar.
Sir, namaste. Namaste, sir. Namaskar.
Start your
I'll
class.
start. I'm starting. Okay, sir. Let me just share the PPT. Then I'll start. So, is the PPT visible?
No.
Oh, one sec. Is the PPT visible, sir?
Control
Yes,
D. Your
ma'am.
microphone is on.
Okay. Visible হয়নি তো?
এই তো separate.
A very good morning. Today I'm going to discuss about Block 2 and Block 3. Block 2 is about environment and conservation, and Block 3 is about environmental issues and tourism development. So basically, Block 2 in this unit will discuss the relationship between environment and development, and it will help with an understanding of what is the meaning of development, what is the concept, how developmental needs and how they are related to the environmental concerns, as well as the social and ecological problems that are encountered in relating development with environment. So, moving ahead, the Unit 5, Conservation Through Ages. Now, since we are talking about conservation, the conservation of nature is very important, and the thing is that it has not been well documented. But yes, this chapter would define what do you mean by conservation, and especially how to recreate briefly the history of conservation, as well as acquaint you with the importance of conservation today. Now, when we talk about, since this uh, course is about this basically courses about environment and tourism. When we talk about conservation of nature, it refers to the protection, then comes preservation, then sustainability management of the natural resources, as well as ecosystem. Like yesterday's class, I had discussed what is ecosystem all about. We all live in the ecosystem. Both it comprises of biotic components and abiotic components. So it always involves the efforts to prevent degradation, destruction, as destruction of resources, and to maintain their biodiversity, ecological balance, and overall health. So there are several reasons, like uh, there are several reasons why conservation of nature is important. So, to name a few, we have biodiversity, we have ecosystem services, we have climate change mitigation, we have cultural and aesthetic value, we have economic benefits, and to promote conservation of nature, various strategies are also being employed. So, since we have discussed yesterday, but still, then I just want to recap what is biodiversity. Nature conservation helps to protect and preserve a variety of plant as well as the animal species, and that is present on the earth. And biodiversity is very essential for maintaining the balance of the ecosystems and also providing various ecological services, just like pollination, then you have nutrient cycle, then pest control. Now, coming to the ecosystem services, we have natural ecosystems which provides a lot range of services that are vital for the human beings, including clean air, clean water, then climate regulation, soil fertility, then food production, and so on. So, conserving nature ensures that there should be a continuous provision of this ecosystem services. So, the ecosystem services has to be present. Coming to climate change mitigation, natural habitats like forests, then there's a wastelands. They act as carbon sinks, which helps in absorbing as well as storing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And protecting and restoring these habitats can help mitigate change climatic conditions by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. Then we have cultural and aesthetic value. Nature has a immense cultural and aesthetic value for the human beings. So it provides inspiration for art, culture, food, literature, spirituality, and so on. So conserving nature allows future generations to experience and appreciate the beauty and diversity of the natural world. So there are also economic benefits, like coming to the benefits, like natural resources, they contribute significantly to the local population, to local economies, through tourism, through recreation and sustainable use. So conservation efforts can help, it would help to generate employment, it would help to generate income, then opportunities, income opportunities, employment opportunities, while ensuring the long-term sustainability of these resources. Because sustainability of resources is very important. Now, to promote conservation of nature, when we talk about conservation, what is conservation? We all, as I've discussed, like it is basically preservation of biodiversity that is very much essential for functioning of the ecosystems and the survival of the mankind. We all are threatened by the decay of global life support systems. In Indian you can say the holy books. We have Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, where there's a detailed description has been mentioned about the trees, plants, wildlife, along with their importance to the community, how they have an importance. Each and every plant, trees, animals, wildlife, they have some importance. They contribute significantly to the community. So those have been mentioned in a holy books. Now, trees have also been considered as an essential part of dwelling in the Indian homes. There are a lot of plants and trees which are very beneficial to human life, and therefore in India we also celebrate Van Mahotsav, which is also known as Viha Mahotsava. Now, to promote conservation of nature, various strategies has also been employed, which includes protected areas, then sustainable resource management, then environmental education, policy and legislation, then international cooperation. So, when we say about protected areas, it is basically establishing protected areas such as national parks. Then we have national sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries, marine reserves, which helps in safeguarding the critical habitats as well as the species from human activities, because we always people by destroying the nature, society is creating a basis for self destruction. So that is how we should promote conservation of nature, because we are, if you see the scenario, you'll find that we are fast heading towards a complete devastation and destruction of ecology. There are a lot of buildings coming up, there are a lot of constructions going on, roadways are being broadened. I mean, so lot of destruction is going on. Lot of, so I mean, those were not, those are all man-made. Okay, so we are not on the brink of disaster, but we have already entered the realm of disaster. So man, by his thoughtless acts, is first turning the globe into a large garbage heap, which we need to ensure that it is not being destroyed. Okay, so we have a lot of strategies that need to be employed. As I was telling, like sustainable resource management, it's basically adopting sustainable practices in agriculture, then forestry, fisheries, and other industries, which would help to minimize the negative impacts on the ecosystems, and ensuring that long term availability of natural resources do exist. Then comes environmental education and awareness. In schools and colleges, you'll find a subject as an environmental science, where you in schools, it's not only in schools but also in colleges. There's a subject environmental science where you are being taught about the environment, because it is a first and foremost duty to protect the environment. So this environmental education is very important at the secondary level, also the primary level, the secondary level, and even at the college level, because it gives you an awareness. Because educating people about the importance of nature conservation, and also providing an awareness about the threats of biodiversity, can easily foster a sense of responsibility and encourage individuals to take action, because every individual has some responsibility towards the society. So we have to ensure to maintain that rhythm, that what has to be maintained. Now there are also policies, there are also policies and legislation. Now government also, there are the stakeholders and there is the government, which plays a very important role, a very crucial role in enacting laws and regulations that promote nature conservation. So that nature conservation includes wildlife protection acts, then environmental impact assessment requirements, and sustainable development policies. These policies and legislations are usually, I mean, government makes all these policies. Then comes international cooperation, it is not among only, there are a lot of conferences, seminars have been taking places where not only India but other countries are also participating in this conferences, about global warming. Discussions are being made about global warming. So there should be collaborative efforts had to be made among the countries, as well as different organizations are there and communities which are very essential for basically addressing the global environmental challenges, the adversities that the countries are facing today, and implementing effective conservation measures. So that is why international cooperation is also very much essential. So we can say that to summarize, we can say that conservation of nature is basically a collective responsibility that requires the involvement and commitment of the individuals, the communities, the governments, then the organizations worldwide. It is not only a group of people or a community or a organization or the government which has a role to play. It is also as an individual, I can also play, you can also play. So everybody's involvement is required. That is what we study. That is what awareness is very much important. Environmental education and awareness is very important, and by valuing and protecting the nature, we can ensure that a sustainable future both for the humans and for the planet. So this, various activities, especially if you see around your, the places you stay around, you'll see lot of industries are coming up, agricultural sectors are also there. So these industrial sectors are basically destroying the nature. So once by destroying ecology, man is creating conditions for self-destructions. So you will see, usually this industries or workshops. I mean, which generates, like the industrial belt. You might have noticed that the industrial belt, they are usually located away from the city, so that it does not affect the human inhabitants area and all. So because once the ecology is being destroyed, it's really self-destruction process takes place. So that has to be conserved. So protection, we need to protect, and regeneration of ecology is a vital question that comes up today in the world society. And that is why different conferences, seminars, workshops are being organized to address these issues. So the entire strategy of the future development of civilization has to change drastically in all the fields. Otherwise, our survival, our sustainability is a big question mark. So, of course, the government and different organizations, they are trying their best to put a stop to this destruction of forest, and especially the nature, largely nature, and trying to stay in harmony with the nature. Okay, so tomorrow man has to exist on the condition of conservation and regeneration of ecology. So restriction and guarantee of full protection of the environment has to become the keyword of social development. So in order to develop as part of nature and not outside it, man will have to bring about fundamental changes in his industrial, agriculture, and socio-economic political strategies. So thinking and philosophy of man creature relationship has to be drastically changed. Then only we can exist. Ahmed, is it visible? Ahmed, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I definitely.
Yes, I mean the PPT is visible.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, ठीक है. Okay, go ahead. So I'm going ahead. So Coming to the unit 6, that is environmental parameters and tourism. Now, environment is facing problems because of increasing tourism, which is an instrument of economic and social development. So, like previously, I have told you there are a lot of industries coming up, which is affecting, which is having an impact on the environment. But this, we are talking about how tourism is interlinked with the environment. So there are a lot of tourism, the problems, the environment is facing problems because of increasing tourism, which is an instrument of economic and social development. So one needs to analyze the environmental degradation caused by tourism related activities. So there's always an impact of ecotourism on environment and the ways of handling the situation in an effective way. So different kinds of tourism activities affect the environment. There are a lot types of different types of tourism. We have religious tourism, we have wellness tourism, we have alternative tourism, we have adventure tourism, we have educational tourism. So then we have ecotourism. So there are a lot of tourism. So somewhere or the other, these types of tourisms are affecting the environment. Okay, so we have to ensure that it doesn't. So environment and tourism, they always have a complex interaction between them, and we need to, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of adversity. So we have to handle very efficiently in order to save the environment. So now coming to ecotourism, for tourism, if we tell about ecotourism, yesterday also I said I have just given a few points what is ecotourism is all about. Ecotourism is also known as responsible tourism, because the volume and type of tourism activity must be balanced against the sensitivity and carrying capacity of the resources that is being used as well as developed. And this resources consist of both physical environment and the cultural environment. And one of the important concepts in environmental protection is the carrying capacity. In simple words, I just wanted to say that carrying capacity, sometimes you'll find the destination, a particular destination, each destination, it depends, has a size, so the destination is being made in such a way, or the destination may be a crowd puller. So during, or maybe a particular period of time, you'll find a lot of crowds visiting that destination. But what happens, that destination is not being managed in such a manner which would able to adapt the inflow of tourists. So the thing is that there are many destinations, not only in the country, but there in the globe, where you'll find the destination is a very small, but you'll find inflow of tourists is huge. So it shows, when the inflow of tourists is huge, it obviously has a negative impact on that particular destination. You cannot adapt. So that is each and every destination having some carrying capacity. So you have to ensure that carrying capacity is it plays a very key concept in environmental protection. So basically refers to the maximum use of the site without causing any detrimental effects on the resources, and on the other side, diminishing the quality of visitor satisfaction or exerting adverse impact upon the society, economy, and culture of the area. So it is always necessary that whenever a visitor or a tourist visits a certain destination, you have to ensure that he is satisfied. So you have to maintain that satisfaction level. Okay. But if the tourism product, what is the tourism product? The destination is the tourism product. The lodgings, the restaurants, the food outlets, those are the tourism products. So you have to ensure that the tourism product, if there is a demand and supply, if the demand is more and the supply is less, then you cannot satisfy the customer. So if the tourism product declines in quality, which you need to maintain, it will result ultimately in a decline of the tourism economy. So that is where the carrying capacity word comes in. Okay. So there are some ecotourism, as I've already mentioned. It is a nature-based tourism, and it is primarily concerned with the direct enjoyment of some undisturbed phenomenon of nature. It is very natural. You enjoy the natural beauty of the particular destination. Basically, ecotourism is a very low impact tourism where people always make a conscious effort to appreciate the environment. That is what is very important, and also conserve the natural resources as well as reinvest sufficient amount of revenues in protecting the natural habitat. And especially ecotourism is very important for the local community, because the reasons are because it provides employment to the local youth of that particular area, then also services, and it stimulates the economy of that particular destination, particular place. It helps in energy conservation and protects the plants and animals from the effects of traditional tourism. It is also a big business. Ecotourism is also a big business nowadays, because you won't find any hotels, but you'll find homestays in this ecotourist destinations. Why it is being said as homestay? It is not a hotel. Hotel will basically, whether it's a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hotel, it will give you, as per your requirements, it will provide you the services, and in lieu of that, you have to pay for that. Whereas in homestays, which are usually located in ecotourist destination, they will give the feeling of that particular destination, particular area, where you will have that opportunity to test the culture of that particular area, to test the food of that particular area. It would also help you to interact with the local community of that particular area. So slowly and gradually, ecotourism is becoming a big business for people. So, ecotourism also, therefore, it's offering opportunities for small scale investments, and also it helps in protecting the biological resources, especially, countries like developing countries like, India and like Nigeria and all. I'm telling you all belong to, African countries and all. So those are all developing countries. It's a means of socio-economic and environmental upliftment. So that is what is very you need to uplift the social and economic status of that particular place. At the same time, ecotourism also provides recreational and educational travel without disturbing the harmony of the natural environment. And it helps in recapping the benefits by the participation of people in the conservation of the flora and fauna, because the flora and fauna has to be conserved, has to ensure that it is being conserved. The flora and fauna of that particular area has to be conserved. Now, for example, when we visit a national park, or a protected area, or a wildlife sanctuary, you will always contribute towards the park maintenance in the form of fees, so that the staff can take care of that. Whenever you enter whenever you go to visit any tourist destination, which may be a park, or any sanctuary, national sanctuary, you have to pay the fees. Why you need to pay the fees? You have to pay the fees so that the environment, the particular area, the park or the sanctuary, that is being taken care of, and also the people, the local community who are working for it, they are also being taken care of. Now, then you'll find also, you can admire the art and craft made by the local artisans, and buying this from them will also help their economy as well as conserve the local heritage. You have other benefits also. It can provide foreign exchange because for that particular place an economic reward for the preservation of natural systems and wildlife. But beside that, it helps you to helps you to bring in coming closer to the nature, open up new ideas, take you to places less traveled, and give you a wonderful new experience without destroying or harming the environment. So, ecotourism is a very rapidly growing business now, and it can provide the best of all the worlds. And with the business of ecotourism growing, it will provide employment to the local youth, as well as it will ensure that few people leave for the cities. In our country, there are a lot of ecotourist destinations, but you'll find the ecotourist, but you'll also find people, they are visiting foreign countries and all. So why they are visiting foreign countries? If they visit the different destinations in our country, it would result in generating revenue, development of that particular area, providing local employment, safeguarding the culture, beauty of that particular place. People get the opportunity to interact with the people, in the sense that tourist gets an opportunity to interact with the local community. So that is very important. Okay. So ecotourism is becoming very popular nowadays, especially in adventure trips such as mountain climbing, whitewater rafting, then you have bird watching, etc. And in such travels, the visitors are expected to clean up the mess before leaving, and hence natural habitats is kept undisturbed. So this point is very important. When you visit a hotel, you pay for that. You just your room is there are housekeeping supervisors who takes care that your room is being kept clean. You know, you pay for that, okay? But you but when you visit any homestay or any ecotourist destination, you have to ensure before you check out of that place or the local, homestay, you have to ensure that before leaving, you have to clean up that area. Why you have to clean up the area? Because natural habitat is kept undisturbed. That is, and two. There's a in a previous slide I have discussed about this carrying capacity. Now each destination has some carrying capacity. You have to ensure that it is not being disturbed, it is not being harmed, because once it is being harmed, it is causing a the natural environmental natural ecology of that place is being disturbed. So you have to ensure that the natural habitat is not being disturbed. Now, there are positive impacts as well as negative impacts of tourism on environment. So each type of tourism destination is characterized by patterns of environmental sensitivity, such as coastal areas, including beaches. There are marine areas, wetlands, mountains, and wilderness areas. You will find, especially if you visit any beaches and all, you'll find people take bath. Then they have lots of food outlets are uh, you'll find there. People, they keep on eating, drinking, then they'll scatter all their food plates, then bottles and all. So in this way, they are in that way they are destroying the coastal areas. Not only the coastal areas, even the aquatic animals you can see. Okay. So this tourism, you have to ensure that tourism depends much on the environment, and environment also depends on the tourism also. Okay. Because through tourism, only it creates lot of jobs are created, it earns foreign exchange, then stimulates capital investment, generates opportunities for the small business development, and encourages global economic as well as political linkages. So it is nowadays, it is one of the leading categories of international trade. So therefore, lot of nations, lot of communities are eager to develop the tourism, and at the same time, so that they can benefit from the prosperity the tourism industry has to offer, especially not only in urban areas but in rural areas and also in small islands. See, in urban areas, you'll find hotels, okay? You'll find star category hotels. You'll find tourists, you'll find, travelers, they are coming to the urban areas. Those those type of, they are coming on official visit or on business trips. So you'll have hotels which will facilitate the requirements of the guests. But if you visit a eco-tourist destination, if you're a nature lover, if you wanted to feel the beauty of the nature, if you wanted to see the craft of that particular destination, the art, the craft, if you wanted to test the particular cuisine of that area, you have to interact with the people. In that case, you have to ensure that the environment is not being polluted or not being destroyed. So that is very important. So, in modern times, like, environmental legislation and planning objectives are being addressed. Conscious efforts are also being made for maintaining environmental security along with the developmental advances. Now, over the years, there has been progressive pressure on the environment as well as the natural resources, and there are a lot of alarming consequences which are becoming very evident. So you have to stop those, and this type of consequences, they detract from the gains of the development of that particular area and worsen the standard of living of the poor who are directly dependent on natural resources. That is what is very important. And many factors, there are not one, or there are lot many factors which contribute to environmental degradation, and especially, usually those stem from tourism development. They add to the accumulative impact over time, whether or not the damage from each cause can be identified and measured. And humans may be already exceeding, as I told you, because it is the human beings, they are, especially you will find, during the weekends, you'll find lot of tourists traveling to these destinations. The inflow of tourists is so much that they are unable to handle the situation. In one way, in one in one way, what happens, they are unable to handle the situation because they are already exceeding the carrying capacity of the planet. So what has to be done? Corrective actions need to be taken to expand carrying capacity, which requires critical public awareness and broad support. Now, there are some possible solutions are also there. Huh? One second. Ahmad, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are able to understand?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Understand you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, there are solutions also. When we talk about the solutions, So, what are the solutions to ensure responsible growth of tourism without causing any damage to the natural environment? There are a lot of activities relating to tourism should take care. So, what are that? Promotion of tourism based on careful assessment of the carrying capacity and support facilities such as transport, fuel, water, and sanitation. You won't find, you'll find some destinations which does not have much proper food outlets, or you'll find proper sanitization is not there. So this, they are unable to accommodate people, but still then human nature, you know they wanted to run their business, they wanted to earn money. So even they are unable to accommodate, but still then you will find inflow of tourists. So the government should take precautions. That is what is very much necessary. So there should be a proper assessment. What is the main thing? This carrying capacity, it has a very significant value, because one need to assess the carrying capacity of that particular destination, whether it can support facilities like whether it's transport, or whether it's the lodging, or whether it's the fooding and all. So this is very important. So the development of tourism in harmony with the environmental conditions and without affecting the lifestyles of the local people. The lifestyles of local people should also be affected. So there are also restriction on, there should be restriction on indiscriminate growth of tourism and strict regulation of the tourist activities in sensitive areas such as hill slopes, islands, coastal stretches, national parks and sanctuaries. When you suppose if you wanted to go to a hill station, you'll find lot of vehicles there moving ahead, but the roads are such narrow. The roads are narrow, and you don't have, especially in the weekends, you'll find. And what happened, the natural species, they are also being disturbed, because you'll find the vehicles will be honking, the tourists, they will be eating snacks and all, then throwing the trash here and there, proper garbage is not there. So what happens? It destroys the natural habitat. So that has to be taken care of. That is where you should be awareness program comes. So environmental environmental education awareness is very important. So these environmental parameters are often threatened due to the increasing nature-based tourism, as this kind of tourism is very close to the environment. We are talking about nature-based tourism. So what is the other name of nature-based tourism? It is known as ecotourism. It can also be known as responsible tourism. Remember that nature-based tourism is also known as ecotourism, or it is also known as responsible tourism, because we as an individual, we as a group, we as a community, as stakeholder, all have some responsibility towards the nature. That is the reason it is known as responsible tourism. So development of tourism is promoted by government to gain economic profits, which would help the tourism industry to enhance. So hence we find an interrelationship between environment and tourism, which affects the parameters of each other. There are a lot of implications of tourism on environment, because sometimes the destination is not being properly planned. You won't find people wanted to reach there, but they are unable to reach because proper construction is not there, proper lodging is not there, proper fooding is not there. So this type of areas has to be, government has a very important role in enhancing the destination of that particular, in enhancing the you can say empowering or enhancing the destination. So one cannot deny the serious implications of tourism on environment. So the development of tourism has both positive impact as well as negative impact on the environment. And often tourists, as well as tourism promoters, as well as the travel agents, they also become very destructive in nature to the local environment. There's a lack of awareness, lack of communications, and so it has to be taken care of. And its inappropriate amount of resources such as time, money, also encourage environmental degradation, because you have deforestation, especially like hilly areas and all. During the rainy seasons you'll find deforestations. Vehicles are being, which are, I mean, tourists who wanted to enjoy the hill stations and all. Suppose they are going, and on the way, there's some, uh, some accidents takes place, or some deforestation takes place. It becomes very difficult for them, because especially those areas, facilitating the services is very difficult. In plain land, facilitating the services is quite easy, but facilitating the services, especially in hilly areas and mountain regions, is very difficult. So we should ensure, we should assess the carrying capacity, which is very important. So there's an urgent need, urgent, decision, where you need to take necessary steps for preserving the environment, which would include steps like generating public awareness and environmental education to the tourist. It should be like, for example, if anybody throws garbage, garbage should be thrown in the trash bin. But some people have the habit of throwing the garbage, here and there, loitering around. That's very, because tourists, they don't have the awareness. They are not properly educated about safeguarding the environment. So that is what is very important. You can mention, if it is someone is being seen throwing the garbage not in the trash bin, then he will be fine. So once there should be signs, signages should be there, and proper, it should be well planned. Main thing is, it should be well planned. Okay, so that is which would help in reducing the degradation and destruction of the environment, natural environment. Now, moving ahead, we have this unit 7, that's Indian philosophy and environment. See, the concern for environment is not something which has come to us from the West as projected very often. People will know conserving the environment, it has come from the West. No, if we all stay with the nature. So we need to learn, we should need to care about it. It's happening within us only, from the ecosystem. It is not like that it has come from the West. Within each ecosystem, there is an ecosystem, and again within that ecosystem, there is an ecosystem. So, after going through this unit, you would be able to know the concept of environment as analyzed in Indian philosophy, a nature's association in the Indian way of living, the significance of classical arts in promoting promoting environment friendly attitude. That is what is very much required, and the ways of developing, or different measures to be taken, so that you can protect the environment. um, then moving ahead, So philosophy and culture, environmental adaptation. Okay. Now cutting across historical, philosophical, there are a lot of debates that's are going on. But one principle is very important. That is, man is only one among all living matter, because human being has the brains. They can they can think, they can take measures how to preserve that, how to, because human beings are the only one who is doing the destruction maximum. I mean destruction at a maximum. So you have to be very careful. So man is only one among all living matter. And Indian philosophy has always being has recognized the interconnectionness between humans and the environment. In Indian traditions, when you talk about Indian traditions, nature is seen as a sacred. It's very ethical. It's a very important. It's a very valuable, and is often referred to as a manifestation of the divine. When we get up, like we worship sun god. So when we get up in the early in the morning, we just look at the nature. Why? So the eyes feel calm. You feel so. I mean, you are in a harmony with the nature. You feel relaxed. So nature has given us so much things. Just staying within the four walls, you cannot enjoy. You may watch TV, you may listen to the music, but I mean, you are just within a box, like. But you have to always think out of the box. When can you think out of the box? You can think only out of the box when you see the nature, when you adapt yourself to the nature, adapt yourself with the nature. So in Indian traditions, nature is being associated as sacred and is often referred to as a manifestation of the divine. And this reverence for nature has influenced the way in which Indians interact with and perceive the natural world. Now, one key concept, like from Indian context, I would just like to say that there is an idea of ahimsa, which is also known as non-violence. Okay, we cut animals, we eat animals. So there's a concept non-violence, and basically this principle non-violence, it extends to all living beings, including plants as well as animals. So it emphasizes the importance of living. What it emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with the nature and not causing any harm or destruction to the nature. Then there is also a word prakriti. Prakriti is basically means the nature, natural world. So according to the Indian philosophy, this natural, like prakriti, is composed of purity. It consists of activity and inertia, and these activities are believed to be present in all aspects of nature, including humans, and they influence the balance and the harmony of the natural world. Secondly, Indian philosophy also emphasizes the idea of interconnectedness. Yesterday, there was a slide on interconnectedness or interdependence. We all have to depend on each other for the survival of existence. That is very important. So, it is recognized that all living beings are interconnected and rely on each other for their survival, for their well being, for their existence. And this understanding highlights the need for conservation and sustainable management of natural resources. In recent years, there has been a renewed focus on incorporating traditional Indian philosophical principles into environmental conservation efforts. So basically, these includes promoting sustainable agricultural practices, protecting the mangroves, thick mangroves. Then you have forests areas. Then raising awareness about the importance of biodiversity conservation. So overall, you can say that in Indian philosophy provides a unique perspective on the relationships between the human and the environment. So it emphasizes the need for respect. Then it also, you should stay in harmony with the nature and balance in our interactions with the nature. You have to stay in balance with the nature, and it offers valuable insights for addressing contemporary environmental challenges. Now, if you look in the Indian worldview, there are a lot of ancient civilizations and cultures, and if you ponder over there, there's a significance, there's a significance role it has a place. And while on surface, myth has a dreamlike structure, its meaning and value lies in its pointing at the natural phenomenon. Thus, Indian science and philosophy and culture is developed on the postulation of perpetual movement of creating and protecting the natural environment. So, if you want, I mean, to summarize on this unit, I would like to mention that we now know that resources exist with Indian philosophical traditions, beliefs for the elaboration of an ethic suited to environmental problems. We all know, we all do believe that man is related to nature, the elements and animals and plant life. So we can say that man is related to nature, the elements and the animals and the plant life. Now the environment in which we live is not an alien environment. Okay, he always considers it as its own, where he likes all breathing out, but endowed with special faculty of self-reflection and speech. There's always something, the word called self-reflection. What we did, when we try to think about, did we do anything as such? So that is what a self-reflection is all about. So you need to think, you need to retrospect. That is what is very important. So man, indeed, man is constantly seen as an embodiment of the elements and forces of nature, and in relationship to animal and plant life. And this gives the world a different character from what is implied in the modern ideas of progress. As I was telling you, we all have some responsibility towards the society. Like as an individual, I can plant a tree, okay? But corporates, that is the companies, they also have some responsibility towards the society, and that is known as corporate social responsibility. You'll find some roads, you'll find some plantations in some areas where it is written there, maintained by so and so company, maintained by so and so corporate. So those type of activities are known as corporate social responsibility, which implies that the corporate sectors also do have some responsibility towards the environment, towards the society. So they also have an important role to play. Now, moving to environment and development. Uh, so some of the environmental resources are like uh, minerals, fuels, forests, and grazing fisheries. Okay, मतलब in unit 8 we'll be discussing about these resources. Plus the biotic includes three general categories of organism, and you should always remember two things. One is the producer, and the other is the consumers. The producers, the plants are basically the producers, and the animals are the consumers. One minute. So there are primary producers, those are largely the green plants, and the consumers, which are the animals. This is very important. Okay, and the decomposers, they usually include the microorganisms that break down the remains of plants and animals into simpler compounds. So what are decomposers? Basically, these decomposers include the microorganisms that break down the remains of plants and animals into simpler compounds. Now, development. What do you mean by development? Basically, we are talking about environment development. Um,
You have joined the call. There are four other people in the call. Your camera is on. Your microphone is on. Your hand is lowered. Open the people list to see the visitors who joined from outside the meeting host organization. Visitor indicator button. Meet dash BTS online council in class dash TS dash 4, 5 and 7. Visitor into this call is being recorded button. The Roy left parent presenting right parent.
So we are coming on the development. Okay. Now, when we talk about the development of the environment, we need to know that there's release of energy by burning coal and oil. Then there are manufacturing machines that would greatly amplify the labor of their hands, work metals, and to forge new alloys. But at the same time, they selected and cultivated, I mean to say, in one side you see the industries where you need to work with the metals, where you need to work with the alloys. So they are having a negative impact on the environment. But on the other side, you need to cultivate better crops and improve the domesticated stocks animals. So these various skills and practices eventually encourage the worldwide proliferation of maths. Now, in the 17th century and 18th century, there is a process known as agricultural revolution. But by the end of the 19th century, people had a belief in progress. They believed that economic, the term economic development, which came into use, and slowly there's a progress in the society, and this progress referred to the belief that was possible, while development referred to the conscious process of making it happen. So every step that is being taken forward in any sphere of development added to environmental degradation. See, in one way, we have a lot of machineries, lot of equipments. Earlier we used to plow the land with the help of bullock carts. For example, I'm taking a very simple example. Take the example of plowing the agricultural lands. So we used to take the help of the bullockers. You know what are bullockers? I mean, the field is being plowed with the help of the bullockers. Bullockers was bullock. With that, cart was. When they used to ride the cart, drawn the cart with the help of the bullocks. But nowadays, you won't find bullockers in the agricultural fields. What you'll find? You'll find the tractors. So tractors use machinery parts and all. They have, different types of tools and equipments are added to it so that it can plow the field. Of course, in one way, it is very time saving. It's not time consuming. If you take the care of the bullockers, it is very time saving. But it would the tractor cannot run without a fuel, so it will utilize fuel. It will make sound. So when the sound is made, it will pollute the environment. So what happens? This is a very negative impact. So agricultural revolution took place. Our country has developed, the environment has developed, but on the other side, it has also there's a degradation of the environment. Okay, so many thoughtful explanations as to why development during the past century has been so environmentally destructive has been forwarded. Now, there's a massive environmental destruction is inevitable where human population is growing rapidly. You will be, I mean, India is, I think, largest. It was the second largest populated country after China. It is, so population is one of the factors which has a very negative impact on the environment. We don't have areas, we don't have the places, but the environment has been degraded in such a way. So too many new substances have been introduced, too many tools, equipments, machineries, which is you know this which is acting as a destruction tool for the environment. It has been introduced into the environment because we want to reduce manpower, we want to reduce time. So this has been introduced into the environment before determining the impacts on other species. So that what is hampering the environment. So the producers and consumers behave in a manner that cannot be sustained because market prices do not include environmental cost also. Okay, that is also very important. So the development which we have achieved has not only, we say we have developed, there's a developing countries, there's a developed country. We say we have developed, but if you really see properly, we have developed, but we have developed in such a way where we have left the environment, where we have harmed the environment, where we have polluted the environment, and as a result, it has a very negative impact. So the development which we have achieved not only disturbed the environment, but it has also disturbed the social structure, human relations, which is also a very complex system. Okay. So, today, presently, the earth is facing an environmental crisis. I told you yesterday, we had the tourism day. The theme of the tourism day was green tourism. In one side, it's mentioned green tourism. On the other side, you'll find people are using paper bags, people are throwing the garbages here and there. So this is what the earth is facing, an environmental crisis. So there is a little doubt that this crisis can be attributed to the manner in which the industrial and technological development has taken place in the world. And the main crux of the problem is that the extent of human reproduction is infinite, while the resources of the earth to support human life is finite. Human beings, the population is increasing, the population is growing, but on the other side, the resources of the earth is diminishing, it is getting reduced. So the related problem is that of the attitude where wants dictate the lifestyle. I can be happy with 5 sets of dress. No, I'll buy 10 sets of dress. Now, each set of dress is also been marketed and packaged by a company. So when you bring the outfits from a market, it is being well packed, designed, that is being taken care by a company. Then you try to throw away the packets, you just throw the packets here and there. So what happens? It is destroying the environment, but we are being involved here. Why? Because we have lot human needs are unwanted. So we have wants which dictate the lifestyle, and this lifestyle has a very negative impact on the environment. So we need to understand the nature and magnitude of this problematic relationship between environment and development. So the first is population overcrowded. Second is there are social difficulties created by the impact of technology on life, bringing about an upheaval of traditional social systems. See, it's a very debate. We are developing, yes, very much developing, but on the other side, we see the environmentalists have a very, very negative impact on the environment. Technology is taking us forward, but there's an upheaval of we are losing the traditional social systems. So finally, there is an ecological problem which is being brought on by the development based on advanced technology. So as a result, it causes pollution to the environment and disturbing the delicate balance of natural forces of regeneration. So that was all about the environment crisis. Okay. Now the ninth unit is about concept of development. So after reading this unit, you will be able to understand. 1 minute. Huh? Now, concepts of development. Okay, so after reading this unit, you will be able to understand and analyze the role of tourism in the development process. We have learned about development, why tourism has a role to play in this development process. So you have to learn about the various models of development and to know the problems with different models of tourism development and understand sustainable development. Now, tourism can have both positive effects as well as negative effects on the environment. It is going simultaneously, side by side. Okay. So, on one hand, tourism can contribute to the environmental conservation efforts, like providing financial support for the protection of the natural inhabitants, wildlife, and so on. And it can also raise awareness about the importance of preserving the environment and promote sustainable practices. However, tourism also have negative impacts on the environment. How are the negative impacts? Because suppose you take the example of you find there are a lot of inflow of tourists on a particular destination. You have to come up with lot of hotels. You have to come up with lot of food outlets. Beside that, there should be proper traffic system should be there, proper transport system should be there. So when you cut the forests, when you pave the roads, what happens? It's a negative impact on the environment. So the tourism always, it's have, I mean, it's having on both ways, positive as well as negative impacts. It can have negative impacts on the environment, like infrastructure, construction of infrastructure such as hotels, resorts, then roads. They can lead to deforestation because you have to cut down the trees. So it leads to deforestation. Then there are habitat destruction. Sometimes you will find while going to a particular destination, on the side of the road you will find all these ponds, lakes. After a few years, when you are visiting the same destinations, you will never find the pond, you will never find the lakes. What happened? Those has been on the ponds, on the lakes. You will find there are huge hotels, huge hotels, huge food outlets have come up. So in that, it's destroying, because that ponds, that rivers, they had some aquatic animals. So, you know human beings, because who is doing the construction? Plants are not doing the constructions, animals are not doing the constructions, human beings, man is doing the construction. So they are polluting the environment, and they are, which is having a very negative impact on the environment. So this increased tourist activities, they are disrupting the ecosystems, okay, disturbing the wildlife. And as a result, what happens? It contributes to the degradation of natural resources. Now, slowly I was talking about ecotourism, how slowly mass tourism comes into the picture. slowly, when you're talking about ecotourism, you'll find less people, people who are basically nature lovers. They visit the ecotourist destinations. But nowadays, you'll find those ecotourist destinations have also become like mass tourism. What is mass tourism? Now, mass tourism can lead to overconsumption of resources such as water, energy, and there are resources. Then you'll find energy in popular tourist destinations. So there are overconsumption of resources. Suppose a destination can maximum, it can 100 people, it can accommodate 100 tourists. But if in a weekend, maybe on Saturday or Sunday, the destination is being, you'll find 1000 tourists. So what happened? You will find scarcity of water, you will find scarcity of resources, it will be overcrowded. So these all leads to mass tourism. So what is mass tourism? Is basically leads to overconsumption of resources, which includes water, which includes energy, and this has a negative. This can restrain the local ecosystem and leads to pollution, leads to wastage generation. So additionally, the transportation of tourists, particularly through air travel, can contribute to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. And furthermore, tourism can lead to commodification of nature, where natural areas are exploited. Human beings, they exploit the natural beauty. Suppose, another thing, I'll just give you an example. You take an example, people go for boat riding. They wanted to see the nature, they wanted to enjoy. There are some places where they wanted to see the um, all these whales, dolphins. I belong to a place which is very much close to a uh, freshwater lake, brackish water lake, and you will find tourists coming from different parts of the country because they wanted to visit, because you'll find dolphins dancing. They say, dolphins dancing, you'll find the dolphins one. So there are boats, where you can, slowly, you can see the nature, you can see dolphins are coming up and down and see. But what happens? There are a lot of tourists coming to the destinations, and what are the local tourists doing? They are not using the local boats. They are using boats where motors are fitted. So when these motors are fitted in the boats, it will create noise. So it will result in noise pollution. When aquatic animals or birds, they hear the noise, they'll obviously try to stay away from the places. So you will never find there now the dolphins. You have to go earlier. It was very much nearer to the beaches. You'll find the dolphins and all, not much nearer because usually they are in the deep sea. So you could see there. But now you have to go furthermore. Why this is happening? Because people are not trying to analyze. The government has to take an important role, has to take an important step, measure. The local youth, they want quick money, they want to extract money from the foreigners, especially from the foreigners. So they want to extract the money. Okay, fine. But what happens? The natural beauty of the place is it's diminishing. That is what you should be very important. And to mitigate this negative impacts, sustainable tourism practices are being promoted. There are 7 sustainable goals, sustainable tourism goals. So this United Nations is working hard on this sustainable tourism goals. So this includes basically minimizing the ecological footprint of tourism activities, uh, resulting in conserving the natural resources, promoting responsible waste management, how the garbage has to be managed, and supporting the local communities. Okay. Now, sustainable tourism, when we talk about sustainable tourism, it also involves the educating the tourist about the importance of the environmental conservation and encouraging them to engage in eco-friendly practices and eco-friendly behaviors. So overall, tourism can provide economic benefits and support the conservation efforts. But it is very important to ensure that it is being conducted in a very sustainable manner to minimize the negative impacts on the environment. So, as I told you, there are a lot of positive impacts like earning foreign exchange income, providing income, generating income for the local community, providing employment to the local youths, as well as creating revenues for the government. So this all serves as a catalyst, for the development of other economic sectors such as, craft production, agriculture, fishery, forestry, manufacturing, and helps in developing the infrastructure. So it also serves as a general community and economic needs. So it has to justify the measures for environment, but on the other side, it should also justify the measures for environmental and cultural heritage conservation, for which resources otherwise, if not maintained properly, then it won't be available. So tourism, we are talking about tourism development. So we are talking about development basically. Okay. So we are developing, the country is developing, but not, you have to ensure not at the cost of degrading the environment, not at the cost of having a negative impact on the nature. So tourism development can give rise to various problems, loss of potential benefits, local economic distortions, environmental degradations, loss of cultural integrity, cross-cultural misunderstanding. You have to ensure, you have to take measures that it is not being degraded. There should not be any negative impact on the environment. So preservation and development is very important. Whatever we have, we need to preserve that. So the word development does not mean that we are moving ahead. Okay, it does not mean we are moving ahead. It should also, we also need to preserve the achievements that has been made till date. Since future is imagined on the basis of our past experiences, it is very much necessary to preserve the art, culture, etc. And culture, heritage, and the arts have contributed to the appeal of tourist destinations. So you can say that tourism plays a very important role, for preserving important elements of the cultural heritage of an area. And this, how this can be preserved? This can be preserved by enhancing tourist attraction. You will find lot of monuments, lot of buildings, lot of artifacts which are being preserved. So preservation of archaeology, there's a department, archaeological department, which preserves all the monuments and buildings. Okay. So preservation of archaeological, they preserve the monuments and buildings, the archaeologists. Similarly, there are environmentalists who preserve the natural environment. But at the same time, tourists should be made aware of that. Only their duties, they are doing the necessary work. But on the other side, we as a good human being, as tourists, we should also be aware, should be educated how to preserve the natural beauty of a particular place. So preservation of archaeological and historical sites is very important, and revitalization of traditional arts, heritage, then dance, music, then cuisine, customs, then you have ceremonies, then costumes, and traditional lifestyles. Okay, so you have to revitalize all this. That is how you can preserve as well as develop. You can also say that I am moving ahead, but on the other side, you also need to preserve those. No, conservation and development. Okay, it basically refers to the planned management. We are all talking about how to preserve, how to conserve. We are developing, but we need to have a proper planning management of specific sites and places and the natural resources in general, which is used to mean no change of the site, place, or resources. Okay, so it basically it is known as restoration to its original condition, and that you have to see. Now, conservation implies that some use and controlled change can take place if the basic integrity of the site or the particular place or the resources maintained. Now we cannot change it. These are all natural. I don't know. There are many sites. This you will find man-made uh, lakes. You will find nature-made lakes. Okay, man-made lakes. You'll go to some hotels. Will find some, lagoon. Okay, that is a man-made small lake basically. Okay, that is the reason it is known as lagoon. That is not natural. It is being made, but something which is natural, you have to preserve those. So major categories of natural environmental attractions for tourism include the following types: like climate is there, scenic beauty is there, beaches and marine areas is there, flora and fauna, that is the plants, animals and aquatic plants, aquatic animals, plants, all include the flora and fauna. So this is what is very important. We have to sustain the authenticity, sustain the ethnicity of that particular area. Now that is the reason we have the word sustainable development comes. So in simple terms, sustainable development means how can tourism industry be structured, how it, how the measures has to be taken to maximize the economic benefits, and at the same time you have to ensure reduce the ne- reduce the negative social and environmental impact. So you have to protect, you have to enhance, you have to improve various components of the environments which are considered as the fundamental conditions for staying in harmony with the nature. Okay, so tourism may contribute to a large extent to protecting and develop the physical environment and the cultural heritage, as well as improving the quality of life. That is what is very important. And we have to it provides very, I mean, economic benefits and support the conservative efforts, but it is important to ensure that it is being conducted in a sustainable manner. Okay, so that the negative impacts are being reduced. Now participation is very much important because tourism industry is a labor intensive, industry. Lot of activities are involved with. So this means that every tourist site has its own distinct character, which is often governed either by a natural attraction or historic significance or the local culture. Now, the local culture has a lot of participation there. Now, when you as a tourist go to visit a place, your participation over there is as a tourist. But who will give you the services, who will offer you the services, who will offer you the products, that depends on the local culture. So their participation is very much involved, so they are not being properly educated, so we have to educate them. So all these attractions can generate tourism, which by its nature codifies human relationships, tourists being the guests and the locals as the host. Here participation, here the localites are the hosts because they are offering the tourism products, and the tourists are the guests. In lieu of money, the services is being provided to them. Okay, so there are categories of people who, who participates. The first category includes people. who are in continuous and direct contact with the tourism personnel in facilitating like transport, then shops. There you have lot of shops where you'll find arts, then you'll find all these handicrafts of that particular areas. Then there are the travel agencies who will provide you with the vehicles or your accommodations. They'll assist you in that way. So travel agencies are also there. The second group of locals is those proprietors of business who have no regular contact with tourists. For instance, the building industry, those who are in the construction, they don't have any direct contact. Who have the direct contact with the tourists? The local people. You go to any, if you want to test the cuisine of that particular area, you go to a local food joint, you go to a local food outlet, you'll have an interaction. Then you'll come to know about their customs, you'll come to know about their habitats, you'll come to know about their cuisine, you'll come to know about their music, dance. So you'll come to know about when you interact with the local people. But in that destination, you will find buildings are coming up. So they are building. So you don't have a direct. So these are the second group of locals who have no regular contacts with the tourist. There's a third category of people, especially the farmers and those who live along the main travel routes, who are in direct and frequent contact with the tourists, but who desire only a part of their income from tourists. They are direct. I mean, they want to be in contact with the tourists, but as a part of their income. Everybody does for income only. That's very true only. I'll give you the service, the service is being rendered. Suppose, you while going to, near, if you go to a beach, near the beach, you'll find, all the local guys selling coconuts. So those are from there, you'll find lot of coconut trees, obviously you like to have. So, they'll be, sometimes they cheat the tourists. That should not also be there. Okay. So this is how that forms a part of their income also. And the fourth category comprises the large group of locals who have no contact with tourists. You'll find a lot of people, they don't have any contacts. They are just roaming here and there. Those type of people, they also have a participation role. They don't have anything, towards improving the society, but since they stay there, they are part of that particular destination. So their participation is there. So, summary, I was just would like to summarize then that tourism needs to be planned properly for controlled development so that it does not generate any serious environmental problems or socio-cultural problems, and it should be used as a means for cultural conservation as well as environmental conservation. And it should be tailored in such a way that the needs and wants of the specific area of the country is being met with maximum participation of the community residents in the development process and tourism benefits. See, now when you visit a um, eco-tourist destination, obviously you will try to interact with the local people. So their participation is very important. Okay, the community residents. So if they are being there, if they earn some money, if they are able to lead a proper lifestyle, then only you can say that it is a development process. Okay, otherwise no. So the local community has to be developed. But in our country, what we see, the local community is yet to develop. They are not being properly developed. So, these small, small effects, small impacts. When you visit a place, you should try to analyze. That is very important. You can analyze, you can, on your own part, you can also do something, you can, there are a lot of associations, there are a lot of organizations where you can be a part of that. You can be into this community services. Then you'll come to learn, okay, about all this. When there is a development, you'll find in each and every individual, then you'll find the society is developing. Okay, so tourism development should be integrated into the overall development plans and patterns of the country with strong linkages. Strong linkages are said, each last class I have discussed what are the linkages. Like, we there are different seminars, workshops, conferences are taking place where environmentalists, hoteliers, investment bankers, they participate. Then there are stakeholders, there are government officials, they participate in this. So there are a lot of issues are being discussed, measures are being taken, and the linkage has to be there. Collaboration has to be there. If there is no proper collaboration, proper coordination, then tourism cannot be developed. So tourism development should be integrated into the overall development plans and patterns of the country with strong linkages established to other economic sectors, leading to balanced economies to the greatest extent possible. And in addition to that, providing recreation facilities, leisure travel pursuits, domestic tourism should be used as a means to redistribute national income, especially. Now, nowadays you'll find all these water parks and all. Uh, maybe in my next class I can show you some videos, so you will find it very interesting and all. Now those water parks are not natural made, they are man-made water parks. So how you when you make a man-made water park in an area which is surrounded by greenery, during the infrastructure and construction during the construction of the infrastructure, there's lot of deforestation has been taken place. So you have to preserve the natural entity, natural vegetation, natural beauty, natural scenic beauty of that environment. Then only tourism, you can say there's a development in tourism. So, responsible tourism, we are coming to responsible tourism. I think this is the last unit of block 3. So, responsible tourism is also known as ecotourism. I have already mentioned about the benefits. So, basically, responsible tourism helps in preserving the environment, and there are a lot of problems that is being associated with responsible tourism, and of course, with the available solutions. And you should know what is the role to be played by the government, what is the role to be played by the industries, what is the role to be played by the local residents in protecting the environment when expanding the tourism sector in that particular area. So when we talk about alternative tourism, it is basically, the other name of, these are ecotourism is also known as responsible tourism. So the alternative tourism, responsible tourism can also be named as alternative tourism. It is basically a kind of tourism while safeguarding the experience of travel. Would also further build a mutual understanding between people that would help in preventing the environmental degradation as well as cultural degradation, and without exploiting the natural beauty of that local area. So it prefixes include alternative, appropriate, sustainable, soft tourism, green tourism, etc. So in responsible tourism, the host community plays a very important, crucial role, very significant role in the decision making on tourism and tourism development. But they are basically ecotourists are not situated or located in the urban areas. They are located in the rural areas. So when we talk about the rural areas, and when we talk that they have a very significant role in making decisions, so how can they make a significant role if they are not properly educated? So in that case, the government should come up, the stakeholders should come up while making any crucial decision on tourism and tourism development. The host has a very important role. Okay, but what you'll see, you will find the investors are doing lot of investment over there, bringing their own people, whereas the local people are, they are not being taken care of. They are sidelined. They are not given employment. That should not happen. So in the responsible tourism, the host community plays a very crucial role, plays a very significant role in decision making on tourism and tourism development. But yes, the government should come ahead and take a decision on this. The host also control the pace of development, which is very important. And as mentioned earlier, raising the awareness of the traveler prior to the arrival of the destination and sensitizing him to the local environment is very important. Nowadays, with the help of technology, before visiting a destination, we get all the information. How far is from our house, what is the mode of travel, how much time it will take, when is the best time to travel, what is the cuisine found there, what are the restaurants, hotels, the art, culture, the souvenirs, the handicraft shops and all. Everything we get in details, okay? You Google it and you get all the details. But why we Google all this? So we have an idea, we have an information, this is the place we are visiting, this is a budget, this is the time when we should visit and all. So this is fine enough, but at the same time, the travelers should also be made aware, before arriving at the destination. They should be sensitized about the local environment, how to preserve the local environment, putting, as I told, when you visit a hotel, there are staffs in the hotel who is responsible for cleaning your room, for taking care of your, you have a housekeeping takes care of, if you wanted to, housekeeping takes care of the linen, housekeeping if you wanted to keep your dress for ironing or for cleaning or something, housekeeping is there to take care of. But in eco-tourist destinations, all those home stays, you have to clean your own garments. You have to clean your own dress, your own outfits. You should do. And before you leave that place, before you do the checkout, you have to ensure that it is being cleaned. So this sensitization has to be very much properly carried to the tourist visiting. Then only it can have a positive impact. So education plays a very important role over here. Compared to the benefits, now coming to the benefits, compared to mass tourism or tailor-made tour packages, we go to the travel agents because they will it's a very tailor-made tour packages they prepare. Why they prepare? Because it depends how it is being prepared, like depending on the length of the visit, then the size of the group, the kind of budget you have, and what are the areas you will be covering. Then there are different types of tours are also included, whether it's a study tour or whether it's a official tour or whether it's a cultural event tour or it's a development project tour or a village visit and stay program. So as per that, there are Make My Trips, then Go Ibibo, then IRCTC is there, Indian Railway, Indian Tourism, IRCTC, Indian Railway Corporation, the tourism organization. So there are different types of travel agents are there who will make a tailor-made package for you. It is basically all these online travel agents you have, online travel agents like Make My Trip, Go Ibibo, Expedia.com, then Ease My Trips, then you have this IRCTC, Indian Railways Tourism and Corporation Limited. Okay, so these are there. So in this tools, there is an effort. There's an effort to encourage the people, facilitate people to people encounters in an atmosphere where the visitors and the host can sit and interact under the same roof. And with this kind of tourism, visitors have a very opportunity to meet and interact with the people other than those who are involved not only in providing tourism services, okay, but they would try to interact with the people. And such tourists, in it is not a conventional type of tourism. It is where you get to interact with the local people. That makes an impact on the particular area. So such tourists include, development workers, university intellectuals, then you have the nature lovers, you have the environmentalists. I've said all before, okay? So this local people too have the opportunity to meet them as friends from outside who express an intention to know about the culture, about each other's culture, okay, and tradition structure of tourism. So tourism always has been the potential, it's always acts as a catalyst to bridge the gap and can provide a flow of information between people. So in such a way, the alternative tourism provides a lot of scope of being closer to the environment. So this is the main, tagline, rather I should say, that alternative tourism or ecotourism, it provides a lot of scope coming closer to the environment, and it also helps in retaining the intrinsic cultural values of the communities where such visits are being made. And this form of tourism also acts as an instrument for national as well as international brotherhood, peace, and harmonious coexistence. The ultimate theme is that we should stay in harmony with each other. So, coexistence in harmony. That is what is important. So, with the nature, we should be harmony. We should stay in harmony with the nature. We should stay in harmony with the community. We should stay in harmony with ourselves. We should stay in harmony with the family, with the peer group. We should stay in harmony with the community. We should stay in harmony with the nature. So there should be a harmonious coexistence. Problems will always be there, and we should not try to exploit them. And especially developing countries have weak economy and need a greater need for foreign exchange, so they try to exploit, so that should be banned, okay. So the commercial provided, because people, they always, especially the local people, they always wanted to make some profit, and they like to extract more from the tourist. So these traits will be present in any form of tourism, leave aside alternative tourism. So this would have a very negative impact. So responsible tourism is slowly and steadily being adopted more as a marketing tool than as a sensitive planning mechanism. Why? See, we offer responsible tourism. It is a sensitive planning. It should more act as a sensitive planning mechanism. But no, all these travel agents and all, they are using responsible tourism as a marketing tool. So, that should be taken care of. So, tourism on micro level can perhaps be sensitively planned, but at the macro level, on the higher side, at the macro level, because of the complexity of the task, it becomes very cumbersome job and uncontrollable. So, that has to be taken care of. So, I would like to summarize that tourism is a matter which is causing concern to environmentalists. What type of environmentalists? Ill environmentalists all over the world, who they want to destruct the natural beauty of the country. So that is a concern. We should, all of us should take a pledge, should have some responsibility towards the society. Visitors visit places for leisure as well as for pleasure. And of course, they wanted to have a good time. Okay, that is what they are paying for. But the natural beauty should not be destroyed. So it becomes very offensive only when tourists insist on a level of facilities which put a strain on local resources. Now, if I go to a tourist eco-tourist destination, and I want, I should have a sauna, I should have a swimming pool costume where I can go for swimming and all. That you cannot find there. You have to adapt yourself with that natural beauty. So don't try to put a strain on the local resources, okay? And behave in such a manner where the local people will respect you, and it would help to have a very positive cultural behavior. It would create a very positive cultural behavior patterns. So this is particular evident in tourism in tribal areas or in regions where local communities are linguistically or culturally relatively small. So alternative tourism is becoming a very complex form of tourism. It is a complex form of tourism in itself, and but at the same time it requires a lot of questions regarding the formulation of its action plan, and we have to overcome these problems with the help of the government policies. So alternative tourism is basically is a form of tourism which main ideology is to preserve the environment along with the role of local tourist residents. Okay, so thank you. um, I hope Muhammad Hamza, were you able to understand? Yes, tell me.
Mom, I'm really enjoying the session and I have learned a lot. I have one question.
Sure, please, must tell me.
My question is that under the problems which is caused by tourism, you made
Hmm,
mention of local economic distortion,
hmm,
environmental degradation, where you made mention of noise pollution and
hmm, hmm,
deforestation, cutting down of trees.
hmm. Yes, cutting down of trees. Yes.
So also you made mention of you know there is one mention, is it cross-cultural misunderstanding?
See, there are, cross-cultural misunderstanding is always there. So, when we talk about tourism, in one part I have mentioned, uh, we need to conserve the uh, natural, we need to stay in harmony with the environment, okay? But on the other side, there are a lot of issues that are taking place. See, I myself cannot solve those issues. There are a lot of, that is the reason why UNWTO, United Nations World Tourism Organization, there are many sustainable goals. They are working on those sustainable goals. There are a lot of discussions are going on. There are a lot of collaborations where organizations are, putting their measures, they are putting their ideas, because we need to learn from each other. There is one side, there is the environment, the other side, human beings is also there. So when I have to learn from you, you have to learn from me. So there are cross cultural, sometimes we may not um, we may not in all areas we may not agree with you, but yes, there are always so many things to learn from you, because what we may not have, you may be having those, okay? So that has to be, it is always interdependent. I have to depend on you, we have to depend on you. So all the countries should take a measures that they should put their ideas forth, and measures, ideas, and government has a very important role to take. I mean, they should very important role to play over here, so that we can come up with lot of ideas, so there is less degradation or less pollution. Because we all human, there are a lot of needs, there are a lot of wants, but once we cross that limit, it is at the same time they are degrading the natural environment. So unless and until we are properly sensitized or properly aware of those issues, we cannot go ahead. Yeah. Am I could I answer to your question, Hamza?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other? I'll show you some in my next class. Like previously when I was taking your TS-1, I showed you some videos and all. So this time also I'll try to put some videos, so that you'll try to know what's happening and what roles different organizations or government is taking place to preserve the natural I mean, we need to stay in harmony with the environment. So once then you'll have a I mean, I think you can also share something about your countries and all, so we can also have an idea, because this is how I belong to India, you belong to maybe Nigeria, Zimbabwe, I don't know. So that is how our conversation should be, like exchanging ideas and information. So, okay, anything else? Muhammad, Ahmed, okay. So we can,
Thank you,
yes,
ma. We really enjoyed the presentation, ma.
okay, thank you.